Greetings from London, England. My name's Frank Bald and I'm an historian and guide that supports the London pre-tour and the UK's phase of the museum's Easy Company tour. I want to talk about egg cups, specifically these egg cups. One of the last stops in England is usually the Portsmouth D-Day Museum. Many guests have asked me about why there are so many souvenirs with phrases such as "don't panic" or "stupid boy" or "we're doomed." These are from a TV show called Dad's Army, and there isn't much time to explain much about these on the day of the tour, as there are more important stories to tell. But the story of Dad's Army has a lot to say about Britain and the Second World War, and how Britain sees the war, and even how its place in the world.
On the 20th of May 1940, a week before the evacuation from Dunkirk started, the government called for local defence volunteers from men under or over age for military service, who were to maintain a watch-on installations, landing ground and beaches for parachutists and fifth columnists. They wouldn't be paid or organised by the army. Within a week, 250,000 men had volunteered, and within a few months there were 1.5 million. They were something like the Minutemen from the American Revolutionary Wars, except the Minutemen were probably better equipped. Initially they were paraded with shotguns and spears. Gradually they were armed, mainly with weapons purchased from America. This platoon, photographed in January 1941, are equipped with American rifles, brand new automatic rifle and a Thompson machine gun. There was even an American squadron formed by General Wade H. Hayes, here being inspected by Winston Churchill on Horse Guards Parade. Not always reliant on military sources, many of the Home Guards' weapons owed more to the drawings and inspiration of Rube Goldberg. However, during the war they also took over manning anti-aircraft guns, coastal defences, search for unexploded bombs. 1.7 million men served and 1,200 died through enemy action. The organisation was stood down in November 1944 and disbanded in December 1945, and largely forgotten about as a dusty corner of the Second World War. In the late 1960s, Jimmy Perry and David Croft pitched the idea of a sitcom based on Jimmy Perry's experiences in the Home Guard as a teenager, and thus Dad's Army was born. The pilot TV programme went very well, and a whole series commissioned, all about the adventures of the Warmington-on-Sea Home Guard. Between 1968 and 1977, 80 episodes were screened. There was a feature film, a stage show, and then a remake with a new cast. There were also stamps. Bank manager George Mannering was the founder and self-appointed captain of the Home Guard. He was pompous, vain, and very sensitive to his social status and rank, played by the actor Arthur Lowe. The platoon sergeant is Arthur Wilson, the deputy manager at the bank. He is clearly of a higher status and better educated than Mannering. The actor who plays him, John Le Mesurier, had in fact been at a smart school with Alan Turing, the computer expert and codebreaker. The one-upmanship between Mannering and Wilson is part of the situation comedy. Teenager Private Pike, the junior bank clerk, is based in part on Jimmy Perry's own experiences. His bright ideas result in the put-down stupid boy. A further character based on Jimmy Perry's own experiences is that of Corporal Jones, the local butcher, an old soldier who served in the Sudan. His catchphrase is don't panic, running around panicking. Private Fraser is the gloomy local undertaker. He's played by actor John Laurie, who in fact was a veteran of the First World War, serving in Passchendaele in 1917, and in the Home Guard in the Second World War. In between times, he was a very successful Shakespearean actor. Private Godfrey is the medic with an old man's bladder. He's played by actor Arnold Ridley, who was badly wounded at the Battle of the Somme in 1916, was a successful playwright and actor, served in the Second World War as a press officer in the Dunkirk campaign, and then became an officer in the Home Guard. While the Germans make an occasional appearance, most of the plots resolve around conflicts with officialdom, in particular with the competition, the civil defences organised by local greengrocer at Civil Defence Warden Hodges. For museum guests, Dad's Army is a great chance to explore British social life in the 1940s and get your head around the British class system. Like Disneyland's Main Street, this is a pastiche and a parody, but it is how we choose to remember our past.
Dad's Army also shows how the British see themselves in connection to the Second World War. The first point is that they chose to make a situation comedy about it within 25 years of the war's end. One thing I think the British pride themselves on their sense of humour is that there is nothing really which is off limits.
The American version of Dad's Army was called The Rearguard. There was only one episode. It bombed completely. Maybe it's just the British that find the Second World War a suitable subject for situation comedy. There is a lot of nostalgia for 1940s. After all, Winston Churchill told us that 1940 was our finest hour, not 1945. In fact, there is a view about Britain that we see ourselves best as standing alone against a German-dominated Europe. In a way, I think many Britons feel a chord of sympathy with Captain Mannering and his bunch of bunglers. After all, muddling through is one of our national traits. So what did the real veterans think of Dad's Army? One former Home Guardsman wrote that Dad's Army was enormously funny, but it didn't capture one thing. This memorial at Falmouth records the duty of the Home Guard watching over 1,000 dawns rising over the sea. After those dawns, somebody went home, had a hasty breakfast, and then did a full day's work. If you want to try Dad's Army for yourself, you can find it on the internet or download episodes from the BritBox streaming service. Also look out for the story of the American squadron of the Home Guard, the first Americans in uniform on the British side.
Goodbye from London for now, and I hope to see you again sometime soon when COVID restrictions allow.